Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. It's a rainy, nasty evening here on Cedar Creek, and we've got rain coming in tonight and tomorrow, on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's going to be a rainy week for us, and it's a little bit chilly outside. I went out there to film our Tuesday video, and it's just too chilly for me. And it's crazy in the rest of the house, and so I've slipped in here. I'm filming in another area of the house, and bless his little heart, little Howie is banging on the bedroom door wanting me to let him in, and so I've slipped in here. In all honesty, I'm in my master bathroom, and I'm going to try to get this video done. I've got supper prepared, and Blade is on his way home for the evening, and so I thought I'd get this done because tonight, as most of you probably know, is the State of the Union address, and half of my household is not interested in it. More than half, really. I'm probably the only one that's really interested, and I will, if I need to, I'll slip off to my room and watch the speech. Cheyenne is getting interested. Blade, he just shakes his head, and he votes, and he lets his opinion be known, but as far as sitting down and watching his speech, he's not really interested in that. So Howie and I enjoyed watching the State of the Union address, but that wasn't always so. When we first got married, I was 23, he was 24, and we, like a lot of kids, we just weren't interested in watching the State of the Union. But down through the years, we began to get more involved, and soon realized that impacts every part of our lives. And so we began to watch and pay attention to what was being said. And Howie was very patriotic, and he loved the pomp and circumstance of parades and all of the different things. And you get to see a lot of pomp and circumstance when they go to deliver the State of the Union address. So there's a lot of history behind that, and a lot of things that you see, and usually you see the cast of characters change just a little bit, but a lot of the things that happens while they're in that chamber is the same. And you'll see them all with their heads together and laughing and cutting up, and then they get serious with the announcement of the special guest and the figureheads as they arrive. And you'll see the President of the United States, when he gets to the podium, that he will hand those 2 envelopes to the Speaker of the House and to the Vice President, and those contain his speech. In times previous, remember when we saw Nancy Pelosi rip up the speech behind President Trump? Howie and I just kind of looked at each other. We couldn't really believe that happened. So you never know what you're going to see when you watch a State of the Union. Now you'll see there are some very specific things that happen. The Senate and the House both have to approve, and they send a letter of invitation over to the President, inviting him to come over to the House chamber and to give his address. And we all probably also remember the time that Nancy Pelosi rescinded the invitation to President Trump, and it got pushed back a little bit, and he eventually got to give his speech. Now, each time that the State of the Union comes around, every member of Congress is invited, House and Senate. They are allowed 1 guest, and then there are others that are always there. There are members of all 3 branches of the government: the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive. You'll see some of the Supreme Court justices there. You will see the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the military leaders there. You'll see members of the Diplomacy Corps there that has to deal with the foreign nations. And then the President and First Lady are allowed to invite 24 persons to the gallery with the First Lady. And as he's given his speech throughout the night, he will usually refer to different ones that's there in the audience, for something that they have done, that they feel like they should receive favor for. The Speaker of the House is also allowed 24 guests to sit in the Speaker's gallery. And so there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of moving parts. You will not see the designated survivor, and that is a member of the cabinet that is usually in an undisclosed location. In case there should something happen and there is a line of succession, and this person would be able to hopefully keep the government, so that there would be a figurehead there. After 9/11, they began asking certain members of Congress to also not be there, and they called them a rump Congress, a group of people that can come together and reform and help things continue on should there be some kind of emergency arise and a catastrophe happen, an attack or whatever, and the government would be able to continue to function. Now tonight, the President of the United States is going to be touting all of the achievements that's been made in the last year. And he's going to be telling you figures and facts and things about all the different departments and all of the going on there in Washington, D.C., and you hear a lot of praise, you'll hear a lot of applause, and it's usually one-sided or the other. Tonight you'll probably hear a whole lot of those that agree with the president praising him and giving him standing ovations. There'll be times that the other side, they might have something that they really can get behind, and they will applaud and they'll give a standing ovation. Usually what you can notice is one side, if it's a political thing, usually one side is sitting while the other is standing. And it might be something that everybody could possibly get behind, but a lot of times you won't see that happen. As the president is delivering his speech and he's telling the American people how he feels, about the economy and about jobs and about the state of the military and all of these things, you have a big job to do. You have to listen and you have to decide for yourself. Okay, so you're going to hear a line tonight, probably in his speech, where he says, the State of the Union is good. Well, back in 1983, that's exactly what Ronald Reagan said. And every year after that, or close to every year after that, each president has said something along those lines, with the exception of George H.W. Bush. And I will say, depending on what side was in office, you either agreed or disagreed with what the president was saying if he uttered those words. Now, back in 1975, when I was 5 years old, I can remember stories, and as I got older in the 70s, I could see that people were struggling and having a hard time. But in 1975, when President Ford gave his State of the Union address, he uttered the words, the State of the Union is, and he didn't say what President Reagan said just a few years later in 1983. He said, the State of the Union is not good. How many times, I wonder, have we looked at the teleprompter or we've heard in a president's speech that the State of the Union is not good? And you might wonder, why in the world would President Ford say the State of the Union is not good? And I'm going to give you some reasons why. First, he said millions are out of work. 2, he said we depend on others for our essential energy. And 3, he said that people question their government's ability to make hard decisions and stand by them. In other words, they expect Washington politics as usual. If you're watching this now and you've already watched the State of the Union address, then I hope that you've asked yourself some questions. I hope you're asking yourself honest questions of what the State of the Union really is. Did you hear promises? Did you hear things that said we're good, that we sugar-coated and we candy-coated over things that we really need to be paying attention to in this country? that we need to listen and for ourselves and determine for our families, not just the state of the union, not just the state of your state, but the state of you and your family. Where are you at? How are you able to make it day by day? Are things harder for you now than they were several years back? Are you struggling to make ends meet or to stretch your budget? Pay attention to those things. Don't just rely on a group of people telling you how things are and how you and your family are. You know, they can tell you all day long that your family's you're in good shape, the economy's good. You can listen to all of the promises and all the things that are going to be put out there tonight. And I'm not siding one way or another. I'm just saying that you decide for yourself and your family. Does what they're telling you tonight line up with where you think your family is at? Does it sound like your neighborhood, even your community and those around you? Is that what you're seeing? Are you seeing people standing in line to get food boxes and struggling to afford their health care? Are you seeing people worry about foreign policy and all of the things that we saw with that crazy balloon and all the things that were going on with that? Ask yourself the tough questions and ask yourself, what is the State of the Union in my opinion? When they're telling you it's strong, it's the same as any other thing that you do in life. You trust, but you verify the things that are being said. If it doesn't measure up to what you know to be fact, then it's not right. So I challenge you, friends, tonight, take into consideration the things that you'll hear or have heard. Try to get the pomp and circumstance out of the way and the standing ovations and the applause and the boos and all of that stuff out of the way, and really ask yourself the hard questions of, is what is being said right for my family? Is that what we're experiencing? Is that what we're feeling? Or are they out of touch with a big part of the nation that is saying, that's not what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing grocery prices soaring through the roof, and I'm seeing prices on everything else that we're trying to afford for our family just raise to the point of we have to make decisions on what we can afford and we can't afford. So tonight, when the president is wrapping up his speech and he says the State of the Union is, listen to the words that he puts in there. And then you think for yourself and you decide for yourself, do I agree with that? Is that the State of the Union? Is that the State of the Union as I see it? Okay, guys. This is Josie. I love you guys, I really do. Until next time, keep looking well to the ways of your household. Make sure the state of your union, of your family, of yourself is right. Till next time, we're going.